Hello and welcome. This session we're going to start standing up in the centre of our mat, and we're going to start with a short grounding exercise. So I'm sure many of you have done this before with me, but we're just going to go through it again. So starting by bringing yourself into your centre of your mat and maybe just padding your feet. You can walk a little around, just lifting one foot and then the other. And then find a place where you are comfortable. So don't worry about where your feet have come to. Start to turn your palms to face forwards and shift your body weight onto your toes without lifting your heels. So quite a tricky thing to do. It might feel a little bit strange, but see if you can just roll your body forwards, feeling that grip in the toes, feeling your core muscles start to work and help you stabilize the upper body. And then we're going to go the other way, so taking the body back onto the heels, trying not to lift the toes as best you can. Nice easy breathing while doing this. And then come back to center, and we'll take the body over to one side. So one foot is taking much of the body weight while the other foot is still on the mat, but you are very light. You're very light touch on that foot. Now let's take the weight to the other side just to ensure we've completed this exercise. So much of your body weight now is on the other foot. And then slowly come back to center and start to make circles. So you're going through all those four movements of going forwards, left, back, and right. And you can start to make those circles slightly smaller. Good. And as you make them smaller, maybe noticing what's happening with our toes, our heels. Can we really feel and find the center of your feet so that we've got equal weight, eventually coming to stillness, equal weight on the heels and the balls of your feet. Good. Now find that lift through the arches of the feet. Take a big breath in, and as we exhale, soften the knees. We'll take another breath in as the arms go up and overhead. And exhale, let the body go. Inhale, roll through the spine, take the arms up and overhead. And exhale, let the body go. One more time. Inhale, take the arms out nice and wide. Hold. And exhale, come to center and find the top of your mat. So just finding our Tadasana. Once again, you can soften your knees. Inhale, take those arms nice and wide. And this time we're going to swan dive down. So palms behind you, pressing down with a lovely flat back extension. Big breath in here and exhale, come to your forward fold. Press your hands each side of your feet as we step the right and the left leg back to your plank, zipping those legs up. So bring the big toes together, start to zip the whole legs up, feeling that strength and that stability from the crown of your head to the heels of your feet. Press your hands away from the mat. Let's all lower the knees for a moment. Untuck the toes and gently start to slowly lower the body down to the mat. Inhale, we'll do 3 cobras. So inhale, lift. Exhale, come down. So small waves through the spine. Let that head get involved in the movement. Good. Exhale, come down. So tucking the toes, pressing into the knees and the hands. We're going to come to all fours. So once you find your all fours position, in the center of your mat, start to extend your left leg out, tucking the toes, really pressing back into that left heel. And swivel 90 degrees on your right knee, opening out into our gate pose or half plank. So this is a modified side plank. Reach that top arm up and overhead, and then exhale, bring it down to place on top of the thigh. Now you can look down to your hand or you can look straight ahead. As we lift the back leg, we're going to do tiny pumps with that back leg. So really originate that movement from your glute, so your core is engaged here. We're not just engaging those front core muscles, but our external obliques that wrap around the body and then help to stabilize the back muscles as well. So let's do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. And take the hand and the foot down as you pivot back down, but keep the left leg extended. Tuck the right toes under, press into the mat, a big move here. As you keep the arms extended, we're going to come straight into three-legged dog. So you're lifting that extended back leg, which was your left leg this time. Big breath here. Exhale into down dog and just pedal through the knees. Taking your time to work through your ankles, knees, toes and hips. Any movements that feel good just now. And then coming onto the toes, start to slowly ripple that body forwards and back into all fours. So we're going to do the same on the other side. So first of all, extending out the right leg, pressing the right toes into the back of your mat, swiveling on the left leg to start to stack those shoulders and hips, reaching the top arm up and overhead. Stretch through the sideways as you reach the fingers forwards first. And then exhale as you bring that hand back down to place on top of the top thigh. And get ready for your pumps. So lift the back leg in line with the hip. Relax the shoulders and start those gentle pumps. They're very small movements. We don't have to make them very big to target this really good core building exercise. Working the muscles, just lighting that fire in the belly. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well done. Take that top arm back. Swivel back so we're staying in that first position with the right leg tucked. This time tuck the left toes under. Really press into the hands to engage those shoulders to help you lift into your three-legged dog. Big breath. Find some length before slowly drawing that top leg down. Pedaling through the knees, pedaling through the ankles. Just sinking down into the shoulders. Catching your breath here. Bring your big toes together. So we're in a modified downward facing dog. Zipping up the legs. Start to ripple through the spine as you come into your plank pose. Really push those heels away. And then lift the hips. Come back into down dog. So keep those legs together throughout. We're going to do this a couple of times. Come onto the heels, onto the toes, sorry. Ripple all the way through to plank. And then lifting high to down dog. One more time, all the way through to plank. And hold when you're in your next plank. Keep pushing that mat away. This time we're going to slide the right hand into the center of the mat and find full side plank. So pivoting onto the outside edges of your feet. If we can, we're going to reach that top arm to stack on top of the bottom, either looking down to help your stability, or you can challenge yourself to look up to that top hand, see how that feels. Big breath. Align yourself as best you can, zip those legs up. And when you're ready, bring the top hand down. First of all, to find plank. Swim your hips nice and high. Find your downward facing dog. And we're going to come into child's pose together by coming onto the toes, bending the knees and slowly first coming into all fours. Letting the knees come down, release the toes Extend those arms nicely in front of you and come onto cupcakes. So making cupcakes with the hands by coming onto the fingertips, lifting the elbows, lifting the wrists, and allow the chest to come down. Look towards the hands, flatten your hands onto the mat as we roll the spine forward, so you're back into your all fours position. Let's tuck the toes, hover those knees a millimetre off the mat, and take the hips high into downward facing dog when you're ready. So zip those legs back up together if you haven't already done so. And we're going to lift the hips and come into your plank pose and work through our side plank on the other side. So sliding the left hand into the centre this time, or whichever hand you haven't done. And first of all, just starting to peel back with those legs. You're stacking foot over foot and maybe adding that arm as well. You can keep that top arm down if you feel more stable. So if you want to, you can also use your top leg to help you stabilise by placing that top foot down in front of you and just bending the knee. That's absolutely fine. This is a challenging pose, but really excellent for our external obliques, our back muscles, particularly those muscles that run all the way from the crown, well, from the top of our neck down to our sacrum. Exhale as you bring the top hand down when you are ready. So pivot yourself back into your plank pose. And then we're going to lower all the way down. If you can lower in a full plank, well done. Otherwise, you can allow your knees to come down onto the mat. Let's work through some cobras. So once again, inhaling and exhaling to come down. So any variation of cobra that feels good for you. If you like to work through exalted cobra at this time, that might feel great on your back muscles. Try to listen to what your body is telling you. So once you've done about 3 of those, tuck the toes, press into the knees, come into all fours once more, and we're going into plank again. So tuck all of your toes. Oops. Tuck all of your toes under. Pardon me. Hold here, just catch your breath. And swim your hips up nice and high. Now as you come into your downward facing dog, have your feet hip width apart. Look towards your hands and you're going to lower your elbows. So we're coming into a dolphin pose. Now just notice what happens to your elbows. So do the elbows go really wide? They might go almost as wide as your mat. See if you can get your elbows quite close together so your forearms are almost parallel. Not an easy pose to do. And don't worry too much about the alignment. That's just the direction of travel. Okay, now keep your forearms pinned down. We're going to work through the same movement. So we're going to send the body forward into a forearm plank and then send the hips high into dolphin. Now, if you feel more stable, and it will depend on the stickiness of your mat as well, by bringing your toes together, you might want to zip the legs together. That's fine too. So have a little play with that. So we're working through dolphin pose, which is essentially downward facing dog on your forearms, through to forearm plank, which is plank on your forearms. A couple of times, see how that feels on your shoulders. It's a really good workout for your rotator cuffs. And then the next time you come to a forearm plank, lower the hips. That's going to feel really nice now. Release the toes. Just give your hips a little jiggle to the side to release any tension here. Your shoulders may well be absolutely crying at you. So lift your collarbone. Think about sending your chest up and forwards. Slow down that breath. Nice deep inhale and exhale. So we can have a really passive pose here by simply sinking in and just allowing the body weight to sink on those parts of the body that have contact with the mat. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We could let our chin drop and we could just stay here for a moment or two, and we'd be working pretty hard. That's absolutely fine. Or we could come to a more active pose where we're pressing the hands into the mat, we're pressing the elbows into the mat, we're feeling a slight extension through the spine. We're still relaxing the lower body. So if you can unclench your glutes and see if you can relax the legs. And working here. Now we can take this a little further by keep pressing into hands and lifting the elbows. They can just graze off the mat. The arms can extend, or those elbows can simply feel like they're starting to get light on the mat without leaving it at all. So a number of modifications for your Sphinx pose. Just take what feels good for you. And then we're all going to come back just to our Sphinx pose and start to move into puppy pose now. So pressing into the forearms and knees. Lift the hips and the chest back and down. Now there's two puppy poses we could do here. We can tuck the chin under and allow the crown of the head to come towards the mat, or the forehead to come towards the mat. Or we can look up towards the hands and start to send the chest down towards the mat. So take the option that feels good for you. You can by all means tuck your toes. So for some people, having the fronts of their feet down on the mat is not a comfortable place to be. So tuck your toes if that feels more stable for you. And we're slowly going to lift the chest, draw the hands back so we're in all fours position, and we're going to make our way into our final twist, which is our thread the needle. So raise that right arm up and overhead and start to thread the right arm under. Now, rather than dropping that right shoulder down, I want you to keep your chest level. So work your left arm forwards and keep looking to the front of your mat as you turn the back of your right arm, that's your threaded arm, towards the mat. So there's a slightly different emphasis here. We're not twisting the body. We're really getting into that right rotator cuff and shoulder. We're opening out the shoulder. Now you can place the side of your head on the mat. That might be more comfortable for you, or the forehead, wherever it wants to come to. Just breathe here. Feeling that stretch across the right shoulder. Now we're going to take it a little deeper by threading that right shoulder under. So now we're bringing the twist. So it's a sort of a two-stage process. So wriggle that right shoulder further underneath. So now we're starting to feel that twist through the mid-spine. You can look through and under your left arm if that feels good. That might help you to kind of move in that direction. Really allowing the body to sink here and get all the benefit of this release. This is lovely counterpose to your core exercises that we've done earlier. Let's do another breath together. And we're going to draw back the top hand and help you to bring yourself back up to all fours before doing the other side. So raise your left arm, and first of all, keeping the shoulders level and facing forwards, get the back of your left arm to slide along your mat as your right arm reaches forwards. Looking towards the right arm will help you keep the shoulders level, and either turn your head just to the side or on the forehead. And then we can deepen this pose by starting to let that left shoulder drop down, just finding a deeper twist here. Let's do another breath here together before slowly making your way into all fours. Let's just swim the hips around and find a place in your center of your mat where you can just come to seated, and that can be any seated position. Placing the hands on the knees, start to round through the spine, take the chin to the chest. Use your inhale to send your chest forwards and your head back, opening up your heart. Turn your palms to face up, find length through the crown of the head. Closing down the eyes, feel the weight in your elbows, gently drawing down. See if you can find your center of balance. Feel rooted down onto your mat. Each breath you take, just nourishing all the muscles that you have worked in this practice today. Let your mind feel settled and still. Let the breath return to its natural rhythm. Just bringing your palms to your heart center, allowing your chin to drop to your chest. Take another breath in together. And giving thanks to yourself for this time that you have dedicated to your practice today. Namaste.